So like last month or 2 months ago, I became like employee of the month. But today I have my first ever bad employee moment. Like it was pretty bad. I can't lie. I went from SpongeBob SquarePants employee of the month every month to SpongeBob Tardy Pants. Wasn't that like the episode like he became tardy or something like that? But anyways, I pulled a SpongeBob Tardy Pants today. I was late to work by a good hour and a half. An hour and a half, man. And I've never been late to work. You know, I've always been a pretty good employee. I've done all my work. I've never come late. And, you know, if I come late, it's like, what, 10, 15 minutes? Most I've done is probably 30. And I beat that record by a whole hour today. And the reason why is kind of dumb, but it's going to be a whole lot of explanation, a lot of, you know, rant. Well, not a rant, but I'm just going to have to go through a lot of stories. So, you know, get your popcorn ready, I guess. But, basically, I left my laptop at work, okay? And that was the reason why I was late. Now, you're probably wondering, like, first of all, you might not even think an hour and a half is that bad. And to me, it actually didn't feel like it was that bad. I was already running late, and then I realized what I'd just done. And then I had to go back home and do the whole shebang. But basically, I left my laptop at work, and I actually haven't, it's not my first time doing this. You know, I actually leave my laptop at work. Spoiler alert, you're not supposed to leave your laptop at work. You know, you're probably wondering why, but it's because I work at a, the business that I work for, we kind of use, you know, sensitive information. So, therefore, we should have our laptop on us at all times, in case, you know, stuff gets, you know, I guess something happens, you know, and we need to be responsible for our things. But we're not allowed to leave our laptop at work. You know, we're supposed to bring it with us. But I've done it multiple times, okay? I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I've done it multiple times. I don't care. Like, people do it all the time. People do it all the time at work. They leave it because, you know, we don't want to carry it all the way back home, especially if you have a commute like mine, where you're freaking commuting an hour 15 to an hour and a half every day, both ways. So, you know, 3 hours with my bag on me. Like, I don't really want that, y'all. Like, I really don't. So I leave it, you know, and I've never had any problem with it, okay? I've never had a problem. No one has ever complained to me. No one's ever called me out. Anyways, that's just my whole thing. Now, the one thing I don't do is, I'll be honest, I'd never leave my bag over the weekend, though. You know, if it's a Friday, I will always bring my laptop to work, and that was this crazy spike. I always bring my laptop, and that's because I tend to choose my work from home day, dependent on my mood, okay? So every week we get a one work from home day, okay? And usually what I pick is either Friday or Monday. You know, it just, you know, extends the weekend a bit. And so I bring it with me on Fridays, or I guess, you know, because if I take my work from home Friday, then I would take my laptop with me on Thursday. But last week, I was actually at work on Friday, but I left it overnight on the weekend for the first time. I've never done it before, okay? And I brought it, sorry, I didn't bring it with me, and I decided to leave it at work. And the reason being is because I had a basketball game to attend to, okay? Not like actually in the stadium or whatever, it was actually at this thing, but it's this whole thing, okay? I had to leave it for this basketball thing, and that's why I left it there. So, this basketball thing, I'm gonna go into it actually right now. Let me just go into what that was. So, that was on the Friday, the recent Friday. Today's Monday, so on the Friday, it was just a normal work day. I had a pretty bad week. I'll be honest with you. My week on my last week was very busy. We were very, very busy. And, you know, because of that, like, I was having kind of a pretty bad week. And, you know, I was tired. I wanted to go home. But on the Friday, I decided I had to go to work because I took my work from home on the Monday because I had a dentist appointment. And so I came on the Friday. And there's the playoffs going on for the NBA, if you didn't know, and basically the Raptors is my home team. You know, shout out the Raptors, Toronto, and it's this game on Friday was pretty big. It's an elimination game. Basically, if the Raptors lost this game, then we would have to, you know, we're out of the playoffs. We're going home. See you later. We're headed to Cancun, and you know, it was a home game, so it was in our arena, Scotiabank Arena, and you know, obviously, I don't have the money to go see the goddamn. I don't have the money. Actually, I could spend the money, but I don't want to spend the money because I don't like being broke. And you know, as much as I love the Raptors, I was not gonna go and pay to watch this game. But there's always been this alternative to watch the game downtown, which is called Jurassic Park, also known as the Tailgate. And so you can watch this, you know, outside of the arena on this big screen, literally right outside the arena, And you know, it's free. You can, you know, just stand around and you watch it on the big screen. Now, I've actually never been to the Tailgate before. I've been there once in high school during the 2019 playoff run of the Raptors, and it was against the Milwaukee Bucks, I think, or was it Orlando Magic? I don't know, one of the two, and I think we lost that game. But back then, okay, you could just walk in for free, and you didn't need anything. You just walk in for free. Maybe there's a lineup. Even when we went, there was no lineup or anything, so it didn't really matter. But ever since we won the championship in 2019, there's obviously been more of craze for the Raptors, and because of that, you need to sign up on the Raptors app, and after that, you have a chance. If you sign up, you have the chance to get tickets for the Tailgate, and you only get 2 tickets, but you know, you can sign up only 1 per account. So me and my brother signed up for the Tailgate, and we you know, we were hoping to get tickets to go see them for the Friday. Now, before that, we actually did try on a couple other games before. So that was game 6. So it was game 6, and so we tried a couple games before. Game 4, game 5, we got nothing. And so our hope was pretty low, but we decided to do it. Now, they actually announced the winners on the day before. So the Thursday is when I would have gotten, or one of us would have gotten, you know, the announcement that you got the tickets. Now, I didn't see anything, neither did my brother, so we automatically assumed that we didn't get anything. Then, on the Friday, again, on my kind of bad week, though I will say that the Friday I was actually pretty lucky. I didn't get any work. Well, I didn't get much work. I did get work, but I didn't get a lot of work. And so what happened is that, you know, during, like, I was just scrolling through my phone, I got an email saying that in preparation for the Tailgate, here's a couple things to know. Like, I got an email like that saying, like, things to prepare for. And I was like, huh? I'm like, I'm not going to the Tailgate. Why did I get this? I scroll through a couple of my other emails, and it says, congratulations, insert my brother's name. Let's just call my brother Jay, okay? My brother Jay, it says, congratulations, Jay, you won tickets to the Tailgate. And so I thought that my brother won the tickets and he sent it to me. Okay, I thought he sent the email to me saying that he got tickets, and I was like, wait, what the heck, he didn't tell me this. So I went over to my brother. We work in the same building. So we were in the same building, so I just went up to him. I went to him and I said, hey, like, I didn't realize we got tickets. Well, let's, like, I'm so happy. I can't wait to go. He looks at me, he's like, what are you talking about? And then I show him the email. By the way, I didn't realize this. The email was sent yesterday on the Thursday. And then he goes, wait, dude, you got this email yesterday. And I'm like, and he's like, yo, check your app. I check my app, and I have the tickets. It's on my account. And then I was like, what? And then I'm like, why did it say your name? And then we were like so confused. Anyways, must have mistaken me for my brother. Maybe I have a feeling that he was meant to win, but then it got sent to me. But anyways, we were just happy that one of us won. I was kind of freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, I won, because I never win anything, to be honest. So I was more happy that I won something rather than going, but like, I was just like, yeah, I want it. And then, you know, it was a big thing, blah, 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 blah. Then we have to, you know, we're thinking about, like, what's our plan, you know, because we weren't even, you know, planning to go, like, we weren't expecting to go. So I had nothing. I had no merch. I had nothing. I was in my work gear, you know, but the main problem is that we had our bags. And so here's where it starts. My brother goes, you just leave your bag in your locker, you know, it'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I've left my laptop and my bag in my locker before. It's not a problem. And he's done it before too. And, you know, again, it's not like anyone cares. It's a Friday too. Like, my manager, my boss wasn't even in today. He took his work from home on the Friday. So it was like, okay, like, I didn't feel like there was any problem. So put it in my locker. I kept the key, of course. Put that in my pocket. And again, we had to put it in our locker because there's like a bag, you know, prohibited You know, it's only like a certain size bag, and obviously our bags are way too big. You know, it's a work bag. Only allowed like purses and small bags. So yeah, we have to keep our bags in our thing. Now, our plan was to just eat beforehand and then go. So work ends at 4:30 for us. We left a little early, but 4:30 is actually the normal time that I leave work. You know, instead of a 9 to 5, I have an 8:30 to 4:30. So left at 4:30. The tailgate opens up at 5:30. And so we decided to go eat before, so we ate beforehand, and then we lined up right away to get in. And there was actually quite a few people. Of course, it's a limited amount of entrance, so it's not like completely packed or anything. So, you know, when we got there, it was actually not a big line or anything. But I will say, what the funny thing is that because this was a pretty big game, because win or lose, you know, we either push another game or we lose and we are out of the playoffs. So there's a lot of buzz, lots of people. You know, it's a very big game and it's at home, so you know, home games are always usually crazier. And there was our local news, and I remember I was looking at my brother. I was like, dude, look, it's the news right there. We're like in the line waiting to enter the tailgate. They're like talking, and I make like a stupid face at like the newscaster. Well, like behind them, because they're like looking at the cameras. So I'm like trying to do stuff, and then yeah, like I was like, dude, that's so funny. Anyways, and then we go through the line. We get to the tailgate entrance. We go in, and there's actually lots of stuff to do, and we take a nice picture between me and him, promoting a company that I'm not gonna shout out because you don't get free promo, but it was a nice picture. We held a basketball. Then we did a various amount of activities like shooting a basketball, and if you shoot the basketball, you get a prize. The first one we did, it was like with mini basketballs, and if you get a few in, you get you get a prize. We both of us got water bottles, so that was neat. And then we had the big boy one. The big boy one, oh, actually there was a Kahoot too, but we both freaking lost. It was so bad. But the Kahoot winners, they got to like get like a free T-shirt or whatever. And then there's the big basketball. That one took forever. I think we were in that line for almost an hour. Which basically we were in that line until the game started, because we were doing the other activities first, and then yeah, we probably got in that line like 6, and then we finally got to shoot the basketball at like 7. So yeah, most of our time was waiting in that basketball line. But basically, if you it was a free throw, and if you get 5 attempts, if you get 2 out of the 5, you get a free hot dog voucher. If you get 3 out of the 5, you get really nice merch for the Raptors, t-shirt merch, free t-shirt merch. And then the final one is if you get 4 out of the 5, you get the merch plus your name entered into a raffle for tickets for the game. So, you know, it was pretty big. We saw a lot of people, you know, try. I feel like a lot of the, you know, normal, like, you know, average population, if you're part of the average population, you probably got like none. Or if you were pretty lucky, you'd get like at least 2 or maybe 3. I've seen a couple of them get 3. And so me and my brother were really nervous. We really wanted that merch. I'll be honest with you, we really wanted that merch. And I was like practicing my free throws like in the line. I was trying to get that joint going. And I was telling my brother, like, dude, look, we gotta get, like, I'm looking at this thing, and it's like, you know, we gotta hit the backboard. Looking like backboard's fire. Because, you know, people were swishing it all, no backboard, all net, but it looked pretty hard. And you know, me and my brother aren't professional athletes, and we haven't been playing basketball since like high school, so you know, we're pretty rusty. But you know, I felt like with our 2 tries, we could get at least the merch, is what we were aiming for, at least the 3 out of the 5. And so I went first because obviously I feel like my older brother's a better free throw shooter than I am. So I went first. First 2, complete dog water. I'm rimming the shots, you know. I'm kind of Brick City, building a house. But the next 2, I start using the backboard. I start getting it in. I got bang bang, 1-2. Then my final shot, 1 shot to get the merch, and then rims out. Now I got the free hot dog voucher, but to be honest, we already ate, so we weren't really hungry. So I was like, oh man, well, free hot dog voucher at least. You know, at least I didn't go home empty. Then here comes my brother. Brother is the most Brick City I've ever seen. I told him to calm down. He was shooting it too fast. but he was Brick City. He only got 1 out of 5, and you know, it was pretty sad. We didn't get the shirts, but you know, it was still pretty fun. It was still pretty fun, and yeah, I had a video of that. I'll probably show it on screen while it's happening. So yeah, pretty good, pretty good. At least I didn't, you know, go home empty-handed, I guess. But yeah, I just kept the voucher and I didn't redeem it. Anyways, after that, again, it was the game. But in the meantime, you know, we were just like trying to find our spot, getting with the crowd. It was really great atmosphere. It was lots of fun to just, you know, see people. And again, to be in that atmosphere, like the playoff atmosphere, people loving basketball, because, you know, we have a lot of basketball fans. It was really fun and enjoyable. Like, I was actually like so happy just to even be there. And there was and then there was this cardboard cutout, and my brother got it and he gave it to me. It was like of this giant raptor, which is our mascot. Our mascot's actually just called the Raptor, by the way. I think that's like really hilarious. So I got a cardboard cutout of the raptor, and I was just like holding it up every time I was like on screen, because there was this camera that pans. It's kind of like the signature of the tailgate, the Jurassic Park, is that there's this camera that just pans over the crowd, and like you don't even need to be in a really good spot because it actually gets a lot of the people, like a majority of the people. So we were kind of in like the dead middle, and yeah, it got us, like it captured us very well. And it was so great that I had the cardboard cutout, because every time we got lost, like we couldn't see ourselves in the crowd, we would just find the cardboard cutout, and like we would see ourselves, and it was so great. I was like, wow, like it is very recognizable. Like you could really, like you can tell like it's the Raptor. I mean, you can't really tell that it's us, kind of, but you know, at least we knew where we were. That's all that mattered. And so, yeah, it was so great to have that, and the weather was nice too. It was a bit chilly, but I actually had like 4 layers on, so I was actually like completely fine. My brother, on the other hand, he was not as well prepared as me, so he was low-key freezing a bit, but I was actually completely fine. I was actually living it up. I even had a, you know, my toque, not a Raptors toque, but just my toque. And so game started, and you know, started off pretty nice. It was very close, tied up most of the game. I was yelling the entire time. You know, it was fun. You know, the crowd was going, and we actually had a lead up at like at halftime. I think we were at a 10-point lead or so. But then 3rd or 4th, like we started slipping away, especially in the 4th. Like we started losing it a lot, and then they eventually, you know, they actually got the lead, I think, for a bit, and then we were down a bit, but then we ended up tying, and it was so great. Like it was like so tense. The atmosphere was great. Everyone was yelling. Everyone was happy. And in the halftime, we were also like watching another basketball game with Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons, where Orlando was up like 20 points and they choked. Like, it was so great. Like, it was just a fun overall time. And yeah, the game was amazing. One of the best games I've ever watched. Definitely the best game I've ever watched downtown. It ended up like it was first of all, there was a first over before overtime happened. There was a buzzer beater because it was tied by Shed, and if that went in, that would have been crazy. But he missed, and then it went into overtime, and then overtime was nuts. There was obviously the shot that everyone was talking about. If you don't know basketball, you probably don't care. You probably don't know, but it was a crazy shot. RJ Barrett hits a 3, and it bounces into the net, and there's like 1 second left. And it was like, honestly, like one of the worst shot selections I've ever seen in my life. But it went in, and it was like just so crazy. You know, RJ Barrett is Canadian, so it's like, you know, hometown hero type thing. And it was just so it's such an enjoyable moment. It was just such an enjoyable moment. I was screaming, everyone was screaming, and yeah, it was so amazing. Such a great atmosphere. Again, I was having a blast, and then me and my brother, like, oh my gosh, we were just so happy that we got those tickets. Like, we just kept saying it, you know, over and over again at the night. Like, that was like definitely one of my favorite days of 2026 for sure. Like, it was, like, honestly, I couldn't have been luckier to get not only get the tickets, but get the cardboard cutout so I can see myself. Like, RJ Barrett shot goes in, and you know what was so funny too is that when we were headed home, there was this guy, he's playing on the drums, and he was playing Get Lucky by Daft Punk, and I just thought that was just the most amazing thing ever. And I was lucky at work too. I was lucky at work. I didn't have much work, like everything. It was just my lucky day. It was just my lucky day. And then we got back home, and it's really funny because my mom was telling us how she saw us on the screen. Because, oh, that's also like another lucky bit, is that the fact that the NBA and the highlight itself, like, so what happens is that he shoots the shot, and then it pans to a camera shot of Jurassic Park, or the tailgate. And because I'm holding the cardboard cutout, you can see me. Like, you can see, well, you can't really see me, but you can see where I am. And, you know, I implore you, like, a Where's Waldo moment. Like, I'm telling you all, like, I had a raptor cardboard cutout. I'm kind of in the middle. Like, if you can find me, that's so freaking funny. But yeah, you know, it was posted by the NBA, it's posted by the Raptors team. It's on the NBA YouTube channel. You can see it. It's in every single highlight of that shot, because it goes from his shot, then it goes to the bench reaction, and then it goes to the crowd reaction from the tailgate, which is where we were. So it was just so amazing, because now, you know, whenever they play that replay over and over again, they're gonna show that shot over and over again. And, you know, to think that, like, you know, that clip is gonna be played like hundreds of millions of times, actually. Like, it's so funny, because I was like, oh, I was there. Like, I'm there. I'm on an NBA post. So, yeah. One of the greatest, like, sports moments of my life, to be honest. It's just so amazing. Now, with that being said, that was the good day. Then comes yesterday, which is Sunday, Game 7. So whoever wins this game moves on to the second round, and of course we get destroyed. Now, was I that, like, disappointed? Not really. Like, I was sad, you know, obviously, because I'm rooting for my city always. But to be honest, the Cavs, they're the better team. They should have won, and it was at home. Every team at home won for some reason. It was just, if they were at home, they would win. So, yeah, congrats to the Cavs. I was really upset that the Raptors did lose, but it was kind of given, to be honest. But it was a good run. Loved the team, you know. Unlucky. Very unlucky. And I have to say that I was also rooting for Orlando too, but they blew it as well. So, bruh moment for Orlando. But yeah, that was a bruh moment. So I think my bad luck started with that, to be honest, with the Raptors losing. Because I felt like if they didn't lose, I wouldn't have such a bad start to the week. And anyways, now that you know the whole story, you know why my bag was left at work. Now you're probably wondering, why was I late though? Because it doesn't sound like there was any reason for me to be late, and that is absolutely true. The only reason why I was late is because I forgot the key to the lock, where I locked my stinking computer in. And the reason why I forgot is because, well, usually the lock key is in my bag. And guess what? I had no bag, and you would think that I would remember, but for some reason my dumb did not remember today. I just did not remember. I felt like I knew something was wrong, and I only remembered, oh my god, I didn't mean to kill myself. I only remembered at the final bus stop right before I got to the train. And by the way, that entire bus ride from the start to the end is 45 minutes, okay? So here, let me detail it out what happened this morning. So, woke up at 7, got to the bus stop at 7:30. Then I was on the bus ride. Then I think around 7:30-ish is when I realized, 8:30-ish is when I realized that I had forgotten it. So then I took the same bus back home. And then because I was so late, I had to take a different train. And that train came at 9. So I got home, got to that train at 9. Because luckily the train back home was obviously a lot less packed. Because I'm going away from downtown, I'm going back home. And no one's going towards, like that. No one's going towards, you know, my home area. Because downtown is where everyone works. So it makes no sense for people to be taking that bus. So luckily for me, I was able to not, you know, to not be as late as I should have been because of that bus. But yeah, I couldn't take the bus back because that would have been too late. So I had to take a different sort of train, and that train cost me double my fare. So it was just really unfortunate. And then yeah, I had to make up an excuse to my boss. It was a pretty easy excuse though. Like I just said, I forgot to set my alarm, which is actually very true because I actually do use an analog clock. And that, yeah, and then I got to work at 10:30. No, sorry, not 10:30, 10 o'clock. I started at 8:30, I got to work at 10 o'clock. And yeah, to be honest, did anyone care? No. No one really cared. You know, obviously I just told my boss I was being late. I told my team I was late through the WhatsApp group chat. And yeah, you know, I think obviously when these things do happen, it's obviously more important to just like tell someone, of course, that you're like late, you know, the reason you're late, or like why you're late, or you know, to tell them that you're just even late. And yeah, it was kind of a bruh moment. I was a bit upset, of course, but you know, I went on with my day. Not that much work today either, but you know, I was a little bit, you know, like I was a little upset that I was late. I didn't even take lunch because, you know, my hour lunch is basically that hour that I was late for. So, you know, I was being a good employee. I was being courteous. You know, I was trying to be on my best employee of the month behavior. But yeah, it just really sucked. It really sucked. And it's, you know, it all happened because of the Raptors low key. But I will say that today actually was also very eventful, for a very odd reason. Actually, no, I don't know why I said that. It's not an odd reason. Summer students came in today. It's a pretty big thing because a lot of the students are here for their co-op term, and it's just so intimidating. I didn't realize how intimidating it was to see that many students, because I was a summer student when I first started working at my job, and it's just crazy because like seeing it from the other side, it makes you realize that like, wow, it's like I felt like I was being replaced. You know, I felt like these kids could come in and take my place at any time. You know, they're so much more younger than me, blah blah blah, and I'm like, wow, is that what people really felt like when they saw me when I came in for the first time? And I met our summer student that we got. He's a nice kid, and I'm saying kid like as if he's like a year or 2 years younger than me. Like he's not even that much younger than me. He's like my younger brother, and like he was a summer student that my team hired before, and you know, it was nice to meet him. He had a nice suit on, and like all these other kids came in too, and they had like their little group already. Like they came in and then they started like making noise when they came in, so it was like very rowdy. And yeah, it was just funny to see. It was like when you're in, you know, like like in Harry Potter, when all those like kids show up to the whatever, and I just felt like an elder. Like I felt like a teacher. Oh my gosh, I just ended it all. I felt like a teacher, you know. I felt like a teacher, like seeing all these new students. I got dash danced on. There's no way. And yeah, man, like it's just crazy seeing like that I've been here for so long that the summer students came, and I'm not even a summer. I'm a full time. I feel like I'm one of them. Like I literally could just be one of them. I like even one of my coworkers said like, "Wow, you could be one of them, Josh." I'm like, "Yeah, I could be, but I'm not." I am not indeed. So just to add to my day, like we had all these summer students come. I was late. Like what kind of example is that? You know, like holy crap. Like out of all the days, like man, such a bro moment. And oh, you know, to send it off as the final thing, because honestly, my boss is really cool. He's really chill. So he obviously didn't fret about me being late, and we had a conversation too. Like I apologized to him because I saw him in the break room, and then he was like, "Yeah, it's all good." He's like, "All good, Josh." Like, you know, he's very supportive. He's a W manager So shout out my manager. And you know, it was nice to have a converse with them. You know, we talked about our weekends, you know, and stuff like that. But on the way out, you know, when my manager was saying goodbye to the summer student, like I could tell, you know, like when someone's like trying so hard to just like do work. You know, I've done it too. Like even when I first started working, or you know, like when when I feel like there's so much pressure on me, like at work, like especially when all the big bosses are around me. Like, you've ever had to pretend like you're busy, but like it's so funny because when you look at what he's doing, like all he's doing is just like the onboarding courses. So it's like, how do you pretend to look busy doing and he was doing it to like perfection. Like the way that he was like doing it was so, it was just like that was just like the most perfected, you know, performative performance, you know. And it was just like I had to clap it up. I had to clap it up for him because that was just an amazing performance. And yeah, it's just so funny. Like, how do you pretend to be busy on the first day? Like, I just kept thinking about it. It's like, damn, it's like you want to try so hard to like to make it seem like, oh yeah, I'm ready to do my task, but then at the same time it's like they're like some of the other kids, like they were just going around and like saying hi to all their like the previous people, like, oh, they're, you know, like I kept hearing like, oh, you're back, welcome back, blah 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 blah. And then you see some of the newer ones who have never had a co-op before, and they're like, hi, my name is blah blah blah, and I just kept hearing all this stuff, and it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, it was just like I didn't feel like I was doing that so too long ago, and yet here we are. I'm a grown adult. But yeah, it was great seeing them all. I can't wait to see these guys for the next 4 months. And when I left today, I was trying to be cool with them. I was trying to be cool with our summer student. And so when we left, I said goodnight to him. I tried giving him a fist bump, but he opened his hand to an open palm, like he was gonna give me a handshake. And then as soon as I saw that, I switched to a palm, but then he switched to the, you know, it was like the awkward handshake thing. Like, it actually happened. I think that's happened to me like maybe once or twice my entire life. And that was like, it was so good. It was so funny. Like, I started laughing. Like, I was like, it was like so funny. Like, and he was like, he apologized to me. He was like, oh, he's like, I'm so sorry, man. I'm like, no, I was like, no, you're good, man. And then I was like smiling, and I was like, and then, you know, like he ended up like, we actually did a fist bump at the end there, and it was like really funny. And then I dapped up my other coworker to make it seem like, you know, like, cause I dap him up, but it's just like really funny that, like, you know, I didn't want to make it seem like he was that awkward, you know, like I felt kind of bad. Like, he apologized to me. Oh man, but that was so funny. That was so funny. Yeah, man. Even the co-ops have it hard these days, you know, trying to impress everyone. But, you know, that was my day today. It was pretty bad, but overall I had, you know, my Friday was really good. Today was pretty bad, but, you know, we move on, we move forward. And here's actually the one good thing about today. Before I end the video, I got home really fast. This is the fastest I've ever been home. My bus took only 45 minutes. 45. That's like a new record. I got home at 6. So yeah, I don't know. I was really happy today because I used that extra time to make this video, basically. But yeah. Anyways, I had my first bad employee moment today. Sorry for the rant. Sorry for a bit of a ramble. But I hope you enjoyed my story. And I hope you guys have a great start to your week. Don't start off like me. And yeah, have a good start to the May too. You know, it's the beginning of May still. Have a good start of May. Oh, May the 4th be with you as well. Shout out May the 4th, man. I'm gonna put Luke Skywalker as the thumbnail. I won't. I'm just trying.